Here, here.
Uh,
Want me here?
we don't need that. Let's just sit
Yeah.
near to each other.
Get some short chairs here, though. I feel like I'm on an ottoman or something here.
I think you're unusually tall. This chair works perfectly for me.
Just remember, everything in Alaska is big. Mountains, stories, governors.
So I am learning. Well, look, I'm told that I have to first of all pose a question to the audience, which is going to come up on the screen. Somebody waved violently at me if I've got this wrong. And the question that you have to answer is...
I have to answer it?
No. They're going to do a quick poll, which is in the era of global, and you've got the details out there, including the code. In the era of global uncertainty, where can state and local leaders have the greatest impact? State and local leaders, such as Governor Dunleavy. Securing critical supply chains, increasing energy security, attracting and vetting strategic foreign investments, fostering AI innovation, adapting workforce skills to new technologies, and finally, investing in dual-use infrastructure. I think you're supposed to give your answers now. As you can tell, I'm a real techie.
I was a teacher, so I'm going to grade your papers when you send them in, so I hope you did your homework.
So I guess we'll see the answer. If somebody knows what they're doing, they can tell me where the answer. It is there you are, Stuart. Okay. So it looks like, what's that number? It's obscured. Adapting workforce skills to new technologies is getting by far the strongest.
What do the numbers mean?
And attracting and vetting strategic foreign investments. That's, well, it looks like we've got a pretty clear answer. We haven't got much time, so I'm going to machine gun you with pretty quick questions, Governor. Now, the first executive order President Trump gave on January the 20th was about Alaska.
Yeah, it was all about Alaska.
And it was very much within the subject we're here to discuss. What did it say, and why was it the first executive order?
Well, I'm going to paraphrase it because it's a long executive order, and it did come out on day one. I was here for the inauguration, which was colder than Alaska. I don't know if you guys were there, but it was cold here. I couldn't believe it. I was freezing in Washington. I was warm in Alaska. Anyway, I woke up to a text from the staff, the president's staff, saying, check your phone. Well, the executive order came out. Unleashing Alaska's Potential is what it was called. Because of our vast mineral resources, our timber resources, our petroleum resources, right? Alaska used to produce 2 million barrels a day of oil. We have the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline. We were the super giant that came online at the same time the North Sea did. And so the president really wants to get our gas line going. As a matter of fact, that was the only project and only state he mentioned in his State of the State, was that gas line project in Alaska. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Our position on the globe is unlike any other state in the country. We're so far, we're north, you know that. We're very far west. We're 1,000 miles closer to Australia than California is, to get your arms around that. And we're the easternmost state. Part of the Aleutians goes out over the international date line. And oftentimes we say we look at Russia, where it's Monday today, we look at Russia tomorrow. It's Tuesday, it's only 2 miles away between two islands. So our resources, our globe, our place on the globe, our ability to help our Asian allies with our gas. We pioneered LNG export in the world in 1969. We sent gas over to Japan for 50 straight years from our facility in Nikiski. So the president knew what William Seward knew, and William Seward was the Secretary of State under Lincoln that bought Alaska from Russia in 1867 for $7.2 million. We all should have got in on that deal, right? And so I'll finish up real quick. What's really important, Alaska is unique among all states. We were forced to collectivize our resources under the state government in order to become a state. So we're more like a European sovereign when it comes to our minerals. Very different than Texas. And the reason they did that is they knew we had lots of wealth, but a small population. We couldn't afford to tax our people at that time. So we're actually under compulsion by the federal government. This is the irony, a compulsion to develop our resources and export them. But under administrations like the Biden administration, even the Obama administration, the push was the opposite, to shut Alaska down, turn it into one big park, and try and minimize any and all exploration and development. Totally different under the Trump administration. It has been amazing for Alaska. We are just giddy with working with the federal administration. We come down once a month to work with all the secretaries and the White House on Alaska. So it's not just a photo op, it's a real deal for Alaska.
So we were talking just a little bit earlier about the degree, which really struck me, the degree of interest Trump is taking in Alaska, that you're texting, you're calling him the whole time, and why it was his first executive order. And I imagine because within the America First context that he wants and has been unveiling, your energy, particularly your fossil fuel energy, but also your potential critical mineral resources would be top of his mind. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And could you flesh it out?
Yeah,
a little bit?
I think we have almost all the critical minerals except for one in Alaska. We have the largest graphite find currently that we hope to develop in North America, possibly the world, up by Nome, Alaska. We have one of the largest, if not largest, lead zinc mines in the world up in Alaska. Some of you have heard about the Pebble Mine prospect, $1 trillion worth of estimated wealth in Alaska. Largest national forest in the United States, bigger than most states, the Tongass National Forest, the Chugach National Forest. So whether it's gold, critical minerals, rare earths are all over the state as well. We have the potential to actually meet the needs in many respects of a lot of the demand in America. The problem is we've been throttled or thwarted from that happening, and so the president's trying to move as rapidly and as quickly as possible. That's why you'll see announcements on the Ambler Road, which happened a week and a half ago, to be able to get the minerals up there. You're going to see other announcements on roads as well to get to the minerals, but Alaska's got a lot of the solution to the demand that we have here in America, and we have one of the largest, and maybe the largest antimony finds in North America. About 100 miles west of Anchorage.
Just on the critical minerals thing in particular, and we've been given this teachable moment by China recently, and there's a scramble, not just in the United States, but across the rest of the world to find and develop their own myriad of critical mineral needs, and rare earth in particular. How long does it take to get that done? What's your project timeline for various critical minerals?
Well, historically, which has changed rapidly under the Trump administration, but historically, from the moment you thought there was a prospect to the moment you produced a product for the first time, in some cases in America, it took 28 years.
Right.
In other words, investors aren't going to invest in that environment, and that's what happened. The thing, so we are moving rapidly in that direction. We'll probably bring on several mines here over the next 3, 5, 10 years. But what you also need, and what China has over us, is you need to be able to refine and process that product here in America. We send that to China to get refined and processed. We've outsourced our national security to China when it comes to these critical minerals. So that's the secondary conversation that's happening, is how do we get more processing and more refinement done here in America? So once again, it safeguards our national security. So we have the raw material. We also have to refine and process it.
You're obviously looking for not just American strategic investors and money from investors, but for foreign ones too, for all comers. Is it far-fetched, given your antecedents as a state, to look at Russia as a strategic investor?
I don't think this is the right time for that. I think we might have to wait a little bit on that. But
what about this tunnel?
Well, yeah, there was a Putin offered to work with the United States in drilling a tunnel between Alaska and Russia. It would be a 50-mile tunnel. I mean, we are only 2.5 miles apart between two islands that are occupied, but it would be a 50-mile tunnel. I mean, it's obvious it's an ambitious project, but when you come up on the Siberian side, it's even more remote and less populated than Alaska is. So it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out. Maybe within some of your lifetimes there'll be a tunnel. I don't see it happening soon.
They said that about
especially when they're flying their bombers over Alaska and we're chasing them out all the time. You know.
They said that about the English Channel Tunnel, and it happened, but it is slightly different geopolitical circumstances. Now, America First is very clear what it means: the repatriation of supply chains, the finding of critical mineral resources, obviously pretty big trade barriers to incentivize people to locate here. A lot of confusion, though, and I mean, just a sort of rolling smorgasbord of new announcements, and then tariffs are up, tariffs are down. How much does that complicate your ability to have discussions with with commercial investors in strategic areas when they don't know, they can't be sure what the investment climate numbers and baselines will be.
Yeah, that's another complicated issue that is worthy of a lot longer discussion than we have. But basically, we have to codify the exuberance that's happening right now under the Trump administration into long-term certainty, and that's what I'm getting from investors. In other words, how do we take this exuberance to invest in America long-term without having to worry about a new administration coming in and jerking the rug out from underneath us? Lawfare has to be reformed through Congress, and permitting processes have to be reformed through Congress. If we can do that and give certainty, then those investing in mines or other types of resource extraction will have that runway to be able to see the window for the return. I believe the president knows that. I've talked to many senators and congressmen that know that, and I think you'll see work on that done once we get the government up and running, and as we move into the midterms. I think you're going to see a lot done. I mean, when you think about it, just very quickly, you wake up in the morning and you think that this administration has been around forever and has done so many things. It's only 9 months. It's only 9 months. But that certainty needs to be baked into it. But right now, we have a tremendous excitement and interest in Alaska by investors all over the world. They just signed an agreement with the Japanese and the Koreans on a $950 billion investment approach in the United States of America. I know folks in the Middle East are looking at Alaska. We have an energy conference late May every year. Burgum, Zeldin, Wright, the Emiratis were up there, Koreans, Taiwanese, everyone was up there because America's like a greenfield, or excuse me, Alaska's a greenfield operation. It's part of America, but the upside is tremendous because we barely scratched the surface on Alaska's minerals and mineral wealth, oil, gas, et cetera. So that's what the president realizes, and that's why we really like the president.
And that's why he's particularly interested in Alaska. It's the energy side of it.
It's the energy side of it. You're going to see, I think, before the term is out, more talk about its strategic location. We have robust military up there for obvious reasons. The Arctic is warming. We just put a lot of money into Nome, Alaska, as a potential port of the future, strategic port to be able to deal with ships coming over the top. So location in the Arctic, location in Asia. And the energy sources, the minerals, the strategic metals, you name it. And again, our timber, we have a smaller timber industry than Rhode Island. And that isn't because we ran out of trees. That was policies of successive administrations before the Trump administration to turn those national forests into parks. The mining potential in those forests is unbelievable. Rare earths, Boken Mountain, that's in Prince of Wales Island, in the Tongass National Forest, unbelievable amounts of wealth there. So the president gets it. And if I could do a backflip, I'd do it, but I don't want to hurt myself.
So I understand fully why you would see with the shipping routes and the sort of various commercial openings up, why the warming Arctic is a commercial opportunity.
Yes.
Is it also a danger?
In what respect?
Global warming.
So that's another complicated process, right? I mean, if you look at data over the years, does it look like the globe is warming? It does. We're not going to get into a discussion of why or whatever, but we as policymakers, you got to look into the future and say to yourself, is it going to get warmer? It looks like it's going to get warmer, so you want to prepare for that. But in terms of dangers, I mean, there will be some that'll say storms will get worse. We just had a storm up there. Flooding will get worse, et cetera, et cetera. And if the globe warms, right, you're going to lose your glaciers. There's no doubt about it. The sea levels will rise. The question is, how do you deal with it? How do you approach it? I have a lot of faith in mankind. Not total faith, but a lot of faith in mankind to be able to deal with these things that are thrown at us. And so the way we're dealing with it in one respect is preparing for that inevitability by making sure we're positioned to, as you say, capitalize on an issue that's evolving. So a lot of discussions will happen as to what you do with communities that are close to the ocean or low-lying. Certainly, I mean, I'm dealing with that now with remnants of this typhoon that came up. But that's going to be a continued robust discussion on how you deal with it.
Have to ask you about, because only a minute left, your largest potential strategic partner, even bigger, I'm guessing, than other American partners, is your neighbor, Canada. Mm-hmm. They've obviously got equally, or I guess they're even bigger energy resources, untapped fossil fuel resources, and other rare earths.
It's a big country.
It's a big country, but there's a slightly complicated U.S.-Canada relationship going on. an issue in terms of your conversations with Alberta and other Canadian counterparts?
No, it's usually it's at the national level, to be honest with you. I mean, we are joined at the hip with the Yukon. Our main road goes through the Yukon. We pay money to keep that road upgraded in the Yukon. We have a joint military post at our main base in Anchorage. Our history with the Canadians goes back a long time. They fought and died with us on the Aleutians in World War II, kicking the Japanese off of Alaska. So Alaskans and Yukoners, Alaskans in most, especially northern BC, Alberta, we get along. It's a culture of the North. It's a culture of remoteness in many respects. And no, I haven't seen a problem in talking with the premiers of those
provinces.
Yeah.
Our time has run out. Thank you for answering all my questions.